Howdy again, folks. Harry Collins here, founder of Grand States Mid-America. And I'll be the first to admit, we didn't know if this park was gonna sink or swim when we opened the gates. But we had a vision. A vision of families laughing, riding, and having a dang good time. Today, I'm gonna show you some of the attractions that have been making waves since day one. And one big gamble that almost brought the whole thing tumbling down. Hey everybody, BeyondDrewTV here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to episode 2 of Grand States Mid-America. So yeah, as Harry was talking about in the intro there, we have a lot of fun stuff to cover here, and yeah, some stuff that may bring the park to the brink of extinction. Does it? No, probably not, because then that'd be a really short series, right? But hey, drama's fun. But anyways, let's go ahead. We are starting just outside the entrance area, kind of near our fountain area, and going past, I don't think I pointed this out last time, but this is really, really important. Minecart. Because reasons. So yeah, there's the minecart. But yeah, let's go ahead and keep going forward. There are a few more little improvements along the way that I wanted to point out before we get to the real good juicy stuff. But yeah, along our midway here, along our kind of carnival area, if you remember, we had our fun little train ride. I went ahead and spruced that up just a little bit. And yeah, you know, nothing big. This is really about as much as we're getting here, but I did just want to have a few little items in here. So we do have, this is modeled, I can't remember what the park is. It might honestly be Knoebels, but I think it's like a dog pound or dog house little shed that's just off the path of some park there, basically. So I really liked it because of the angled walls that you have here as you're looking at it. It's kind of angled inwards, and yeah, it just kind of gives it a unique perspective, right? So then yeah, also real big, the main attraction of the railroad now, or the little kids railroad, is the fountain in the middle. And so bam, that is that's there you go, there's the railroad. But yeah, let's go ahead and we're gonna turn around, and yeah, like we were alluding to earlier, let's get talking about all the fun new stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of really fun new stuff here. So let's jump over here to, as you can see on the right hand side, the Bash Brigade, and these are going to be our bumper cars for the park. So yeah, really liked just kind of the style of building here, trying to get in the I don't know, just kind of those off colors, right, that you see in the 70s and 80s and everything like that. So, and also have our really bright kind of balloon looking structures up top. I actually forget what I used to make these. Oh, thank you, camera, so much for doing that. Let's zoom back in, but it looks like it's editable text sign number 3. So I took that and spun it around a bunch of times, colored it different colors and everything, and multiplied it around. But yeah, there is Bash Brigade. Really fun to check that. I love when it goes too, because it has like a countdown, like a 3, 2, 1 count, and then it goes like hey, with with an air horn, and it's fantastic when you hear the air horn kind of go off. And then outside of it here, we have this amazing looking balloon cart, and I might need to try and set up a little guest service counter, or the shop counter here, see if we can get this in use. But this is going to be by, and I had this set up earlier, let's see if I can get it right away. Here it is. It's the Lucky Balloons balloon cart from Drivet, and here is the share code and all that stuff there. So make sure you check that out. Really, really fun cart to put into your parks. So let's go ahead and zoom back out here all the way, and we will check out what's next to the Bash Brigade. And its neighbor here is going to be the PennyCade. So here's our arcade. A lot of you suggested that we capitalize on that late 70s, early 80s kind of arcade nostalgia, right? So yeah, here is the PennyCade, and currently it's filled with some workshop made items that I found, and there's kind of just placeholders at the moment, because I am crossing my fingers and hoping that we get a Midway Games or an arcade game or some sort of DLC, right, that we can kind of fill in our arcades and Midway areas with. So but yeah, there's the PennyCade. Really like how it turned out, and I really like at nighttime, and I think I'm going to expand this even more after looking at it before the episode, but put a bunch of neon all over it. It definitely shines and stands out. That's the big thing I wanted to do with this, is make it really, really pop, right? But you know, after, like I said, after looking at it, might go even further, and on these columns, why not just keep going more with the lights? And that's a big thing with this whole park so far. I do need to go back and do overall lighting. There's little areas that I've done lighting for like rides and some path lighting as well, but nothing like overall for the whole park. So we definitely need to kind of take a look at that in later episodes. But yeah, so there is kind of the entrance area, and there, oh yeah, you know what? There's two things. There's one thing on the side here that I didn't talk about next to the Bash Brigade and the PennyCade. That's going to be these alpine buildings. So this was a set from, let's see, it's from Kinetic there, and it's going to be the Alpine Snap Kit, and this is a really, really cool set. Let me show you it real quick. I mean, you kind of see how it looks right here, but it is a whole set for your Alpine buildings if you're ever wanting to build those. And yeah, look how it comes sorted here. So they did a fantastic job getting it all sorted out for you. And yeah, I just really liked how it looked there, and I was looking at a lot of inspiration from Knoebels and Kennywood, like I normally do for this project. And yeah, especially Knoebels, just noticed that there's really no rhyme or reason for the types of buildings that are kind of put next to each other. So I was just kind of like, all right, I want to do that too. And I was like, I like how these alpine buildings look, so why not put them next to, you know, the PennyCade and Bash Brigade that totally don't fit in with each other at all. But so the thing with these is that they are currently empty, and that's because I kind of set it up a little bit to look like they have games in them, especially like midway games. So again, I'm kind of holding out hope that we get a DLC like that. But I also want to hear from you all as well. Maybe after seeing what else is in this area, comment down below and let me know what you would like to see in these kind of 3 different alpine buildings. They all kind of connect into one big structure. They're all interconnected on the inside. But yeah, let me know what you think that could kind of fill this spot over here. Again, my thought was the kind of midway games are just kind of arcade games, but again, we have the PennyCade kind of right across from it, right? So, but yeah, there's the little entrance area kind of into the all the newness. Now I reckon every park's got to have a spot where kids can blow off some steam, right? That's what Bash Brigade's all about. Nothing fancy, just good old-fashioned bumper cars. They're loud, chaotic, and a whole lot of fun. Now, just next door, we've got the PennyCade. Thought we'd cash in on the arcade craze that's been all the rage lately. Those cabinets have been a real moneymaker. Keeps the kids entertained, keeps the parents happy. It's a win-win. Time to show off one of my favorite little like random ideas that I felt like throwing into this park, and that's going to be the Paul Bunyan Lumberjack show, or aka how to confuse the rest of the world if you're basically not from the United States, because these are very much an American thing probably. So yeah, lumberjack shows, very popular still today. I used to go as a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s even, and yeah, no, they're very, very prominent, mainly like roadside attractions or like tourist town attractions essentially. But yeah, if you're familiar with what lumberjacks are, you know, go out into the woods, cut down all the trees, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're basically the lumberjack show is going to kind of amp that up times 10 about what a lumberjack might do while they're out, you know, kind of doing their job and everything. So the setup here, the main big attraction that draws everyone's eyes is of course the 2 big log towers up there, and 2 lumberjacks would race up it as quick as they can and ring a bell up there and then slide all the way back down. So that's really entertaining to see. The log in the middle of the water is a rolling log that the 2 lumberjacks get on there and try and roll each other off of it basically while they're standing on it. So that's a really fun one to see. What else do? There's they throw axes at targets. They do like sculpting with logs. There's a lot of show elements to it as well. A lot of cheekiness, and yeah, again, I think if we just kind of fit into this kind of park pretty perfectly, and the overall area as well, kind of how it's shaping up to kind of be, we'll get into this in just a little bit, but kind of how it's kind of like a frontier type area. So yeah, the Paul Bunyan Lumberjack show kind of fits in. And for those of you who don't know, Paul Bunyan is an American folklore character basically. He was a larger than life lumberjack, and he had a blue cow named Bessie. Yep, it was blue, it was gigantic, just like he was. Paul Bunyan. And then next door to Paul Bunyan, let's go ahead and talk about this while we're over here as well. Just outside of the Bash Brigade and on the back side of the PennyCade, we have our Shamrock Café here. So yeah, this is just, we kind of had an open area. Originally there were just a bunch of trees over here and foliage, but kind of figured why don't we put a little cafe over here. We don't really have an eating spot quite yet. So yeah, here is the Shamrock Café. Really nothing too special about it. Really wanted to gussy up the cheesiness on it, so we put a bunch of those in-game stickers and everything. And one of the things I wanted to get in was right around this. Here he is. There's our smiley little fella. Yeah, I just wanted to get a creepy smiley face area, because a lot of the buildings I look up from the 70s especially, they just really have a thing with creepy clown smiley faces, and so yeah, we had to include it ourselves. So but yeah, there is the Shamrock Cafe. We have a small menu right now, the Feelin' Lucky Pie. That's the that just sounds so wrong after I say it out loud, damn it. Oh well, it's there. That's the mainstay of the cafe here. We also have the Irish Charm Burger. On the other side, we have the Clover Shake and the Shamrock Wings. But hey, if you have a menu suggestion for the Shamrock Cafe, go ahead and send it down in the comments. We can expand this menu out to more than, 4 items. So very nice there. But yeah, there is the Shamrock Cafe and the Paul Bunyan Lumberjack show kind of in this corner of the park. Now let me tell you all about the Shamrock Cafe. We figured every park needs a little spot where folks can rest their feet and enjoy something sweet. That's where the Shamrock Cafe came in. We kept the menu simple: pies, pastries, and of course, the park famous Feelin' Lucky Pie. Folks seem to like the quirky name, and hey, it sells. Heck, it ain't flashy, but it's a cozy little spot. And in my book, that's just as important as those big old thrill rides. Oh yeah, the Paul Bunyan Lumberjack show. Now this one, I gotta say, was all about the atmosphere. We wanted something that pulled in the crowds without breaking the bank. So we brought in a fella named Billy Thompson, a showman through and through. He's been doing this act since his carnival days, and let me tell you, he knows how to entertain a crowd. Axe throwing, log rolling, you name it. It might not be the biggest attraction, but hey, it's got charm. And that's something money can't buy. All right, now here's the big one, the aero deal. Back when we were playing in this park, we wanted something special. Rides that set us apart from every other park in the region. That's when Aerodynamics came a-knocking. They pitched us not one but 2 custom rides. Logger's Leap, a flume that takes you through the thick forest, and Prospector's Plunge, a mine train that zips and dips all around it. The kicker, they didn't interact with each other like they were telling 2 sides of the same story. It sounded perfect. Maybe a little bit too perfect, but the price tag was steep, but we went for it. The problem is it ran over budget, ran over time. By the time we opened, the flume station was still bare bones. We couldn't afford all the theming we'd planned. But hey, when guests saw that train swooping around the flume, it was all worth it. At least, that's what I keep telling myself. All right, y'all. Well, here is the big highlight of the episode, and probably so far, even with Great One being included, the big highlight of the park so far, the biggest investment that Harry and the crew went ahead and tried to do here. So yeah, as you heard from Harry, the big plan from Arrow here was to have the log flume and the mine train ride right next to each other, kind of interacting a little bit, but get them both in at the same time, sign a 2-ride deal, and no problem, right? Well, until there were problems. So I thought that'd be kind of a fun story element here. You see our, we still have our open construction site going on, and also the digger here that is made by. This is made by Jamal2911, the animated construction excavator. Yeah, I love how this looks. It fit in perfectly over in the build area that we have right here. And yeah, so that was a fun little story element to, we got our coming soon partner and all that fun stuff. But this thought it'd be fun to have a little story sequence here, right? And yeah, like we talked about in the in Harry's voiceover there. Yeah, the station, especially for Logger's Leap here, the log flume, very much so not finished, right? And you can tell that by looking at it. It's not painted, it's not really themed at all. The ending of the ride to the right-hand side is not really themed up. It still has a lot of the construction gravel. It's supposed to be the construction gravel, at least on the ground. The very, very far side here, I kind of purposely left barren next to the splashdown pool. And that's just because as we expand further out this way in the park, which let me kind of give you a little grasp of where we're at. There's a Paul Bunyan show. But as we expand out that way, I didn't want to set anything in stone basically next to the splashdown pool because I wanted to kind of depend on what we expand over in this direction. So, but again, yeah, I just thought it was a fun story element to have this kind of go really close to, if not over budget, and the park have to kind of cut some corners. And in later seasons, as they kind of recoup costs for these attractions, they can kind of come back and you know, have the whatever this is right here. I kind of figured it might be like a sit down eatery. We have the cafe, the Shamrock Café right across the way here, but right here maybe we can have like either a gift shop or a sit down restaurant kind of thing. So that might be the coming soon partner, and then we can kind of finish out the station and queue line area as well, because again, these are very, very bare bones. Wanted to make it look like plain wood, and the park kind of just being like, you know, up until the opening rope drop, just being like, okay, put that nut right there, put that nail right there, and boom, all right, it's good enough, it can open, right? Right, there we go. But yeah, so I really, really like how the log flume turned out. Took a lot of inspiration from Six Flags Great Adventures log flume, especially the back half here, whereas the flume starts to go up and up and up. Wanted it to get into the treetops. That is a big thing I saw from the Great Adventure log flume, which is a really old log flume if I remember it. It's one of the original Aero log flumes to open, so it was really fun to take inspiration from that. But yeah, you see it kind of traverse through the treetops, and wanted to kind of get a section like that as well. And yeah, as for now, big asterisk on the for now. The Loggers Leap log flume is way out in the dense woods. So I decided to keep the trees. I was thinking about this. I decided to keep the trees for this area really, really tall and really grown out, thinking that when they did construction, maybe they worked around the trees in the forest to kind of keep the you know, dense forest kind of intact. But I'd love to hear from you, and I would totally listen to the argument that there wouldn't be this many fully grown trees back here after a fresh construction project of 2 huge rides, right? So I kind of have a double mindset of this, of maybe demolishing the forest and starting almost a new forest except for a few trees. But yeah, that would be a whole separate thing that I would have to do there. So anyways, that's just a little glimpse into my tangent ADHD brain there, but let me know what you think. So and then yeah, I showed it off in the cinematics and everything, but I have got to come down here and show off my favorite section, which will transition us into the Prospector's Plunge mine train ride. But heck, I love this section right here. This is the main interaction point between the 2 rides, and yeah, this was like kind of the main focal point. Like if there was an area where the park put money into the park, oh, are we gonna get the interaction? We're gonna get the interaction. This doesn't happen that often, and I think it's about to happen. Yep, there you go. The flume and the mine train ride actually kind of getting close to each other. Kink, love it. But yeah, this is the part of the ride that I figured they'd pour the most money into, because that's kind of the big focal point, especially of the flume, is the kind of interacting with the mine train Prospector's Plunge. So speaking of, let's go ahead and transition over to Prospector's Plunge. And holy cow, this was such a fun ride to build here. This is like iteration probably 4 or 5, because my first few iterations of this, it was way too smooth. If you go back and look, or if you've ridden these Aero mine train coasters, the most recent one that I can remember riding was at Cedar Point, I believe. Oh no, I didn't ride that one. I tried to ride the one at Cedar Point, but I was way too tall, so I was like, nope, I can't fit, get me out. So I'm like probably too tall for these rides now. But yeah, no, they are extremely dated in the sense of how you can tell they were kind of shaped. It looks like someone took a tube of steel and just took their hands and kind of like hulked it and just bent it into shape. So yeah, after looking at a bunch of reference photos and videos online, Went back and kind of got some shapes that I'm pretty happy with. There's even some spots still, and you'll see in the POV at the end of the video that are probably still too smooth for an old Aero mine train coaster especially, but it's pretty good enough there. So, but yeah, I love this opening here as you come into the kind of area that this ride encompasses, as you get that kind of overhead drop down from the coaster. Then you just get a bunch of interactions from the coaster in this area. The whole pathway, I purposely tried to get it to kind of wrap around the helixes and just kind of have a lot of fun path interaction. Because yeah, speaking of Cedar Point's mine train coaster, took a lot of inspiration from that, especially for the big, finale for this ride, which is it going over the water right here. So yeah, that's kind of the big finale for the mine train. The big selling point is, look out, we're going over the water. So, but yeah, no, here's the, let me get a above view here of the entire layout. Wanted it to really meander about. That's a big thing with these rides. They're not fast at all. They really don't have crazy turns or anything, right? But they really just meander a lot. They go into a lot of little tunnels, which you'll see a little bit of those. We have right here supposed to be the maintenance shed, and if we get a little bit closer, you can see the other track right there. I'm not the best at like making those things, but it's like passable. We can maybe work on that later. But yeah, there's just a few little tunnels and little indoor sections. There's no theming in it at all. It's just woohoo, we're inside, we're indoors. The main aspect of these rides, in my opinion, is the kind of traversing through the woods, right? Just kind of getting lost back in the woods, and I think we accomplished that definitely for both of these rides. Asterisk. As of now. We'll have to, I'm really excited to see as the park expands and these rides eventually, I'm sure, kind of get engulfed by the park surrounding it, you know, just like what the views are going to look like what is this area going to look like? Are the trees all going to stay? You know, is it going to kind of, all they're going to get chopped down because of more expansion later on? You know, there's just, it's always really fun to kind of keep in the back of mind that this is only the first year of the park, right? So very fun to kind of keep in mind. And speaking of that, thanks to, sorry, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but someone commented that, you know, we should kind of slow down with the rate of time that we're kind of progressing through. And I fully agree, because at the end of the episode, I said this episode would be, what, the 79-80 season or something like that. And they were just basically recommending, and I think a lot of people agree, that we should get kind of a base park built, right? And then we'll call it, okay, that's season 1, or that's the first year of the park. And then we can maybe jump forward in a little bit of time and then update the park kind of that way. Go from the 78 season to maybe like the 85 season or something like that once we get a good base going. So I really agree with that idea, and I think it is a good one to go off of. And hey, oh my gosh, don't let me forget, we had a submission from a awesome creator who said that I inspired them with the last episode. So they went ahead and built their own kind of 70s inspired Main Street building. So yeah, big shout out to Okie Dokie Sims over on the Bro Nation Discord channel. They went ahead and made this and tagged me in it, and yeah, just said that kind of got them inspired to kind of build in this style. And again, I think it fits perfectly. The one thing I did change, you might have noticed the sign, that was me. They did not call this buy Mo shit. I did, because I turned off the food and drink needs for the guests in the park. So if there's any basically food counters in the park, guests just don't use it at all. So I did want to see guests interact with this, since they did go through the trouble of making all of this. So yeah, I put in a gift shop. Most of the shops and food areas in the park are gonna be gift shop areas, just so that guests will use it, right? So but hey, yeah, that is gonna go ahead and wrap up my little section of the build here. And yeah, very, very happy with how Mid-America is turning out. And yeah, for the first season here, for the 78 season, I do feel like maybe like 1 or 2 more episodes, right? Don't want to go too big for the first season, but yeah, oh yeah, don't mind the just random arrows and loops. I'm sure that means absolutely nothing over there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, no, we don't want to go too big for the first season, but also want to have enough for a full park, right? So definitely down below, comment what you think so far of what we got going on. What do you think about the future of the park? And yeah, anything else you want to sound off on, let me know down below. So hey, thanks so much, everyone, for watching this series. It's awesome, the feedback we've gotten so far. And yeah, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also hit the like button on your way out. And yeah, until the next episode of Grand States Mid-America, y'all have a good one.
Of course, I agree.